I couldn't define that right
Well, I
now.
can tell you there's no cafeteria room either.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of it, but I'm selfishly sitting in these meetings and saying, I'm the one who expects to stand up at Bolton Town Meeting and, advocate for whatever plan comes out of all this. And my leading topic is not gonna be the cafeteria, it's gotta be the academics.
Right.
So, yeah, the cafeteria,
No, I'm just saying, if you're doing it and you're looking
Well, you
to
gotta do lots of
address
stuff, yeah.
problems, that's a big problem.
But it's
You
all
can't
flows
fit
down to
everyone.
cost.
They're eating in the
Right.
halls now.
So Bob,
in comparison, North Middlesex High School, for the towns of Pepperell, Townsend, and Ashby, roughly the same size as Neshoba. It's $80 million for them to build a new high school.
Oh, yeah, there's no question.
But that's literally from scratch.
Is there restrictions, are there hard restrictions, like I'm thinking there's, the pipeline goes somewhere through there and, property boundaries that you know of for if we were to build out on the current school? Is there only
Well,
certain?
there's
what do you mean
the pipeline.
There's no, there's a
Tennessee
huge
pipeline
issue to
goes-
keep the pipeline on.
No,
No, there's a
that
current
already goes
pipeline
in.
that runs,
Current
but
one.
I don't know how
The gas
close.
pipeline goes.
I'm being sarcastic.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm
So the pipeline, goes right through the middle of the playing fields.
okay.
It's already there. It's not something proposed. It's been there for
Right.
decades.
But we gotta keep it
Does
out.
that restrict the, like I'm thinking of the science lab
Well-
where they're currently located, does that restrict how far we can go out there?
I think the restrictions would be, one is, we're not gonna tear up the athletic fields that we just installed.
Please.
It's probable that the gym would probably not be touched. Because I guess that's a recent renovation too. Our ladder capacity in the fire department is only 33 feet. So you can't go up a whole bunch. Then you've got the leach field, which is to the left of the school, that big green building, that's the pump chamber,
Got it.
and the leach field's in front of it. A bigger school, by the way, we went through this at the last meeting, that thing has excess capacity out the yin-yang, the leach field, all right? So a bigger school is not gonna be an issue with the septic system. Could you come closer to 117?
Yeah, but then where do you put the parking that's already squeezed,
Well, you put
The
that where the
garage.
school used to be,
Yeah.
the-
Where do you put the parking garage?
or, yeah, or something like that.
Yeah,
Can you do that? You don't need the fire truck for the garage, for the garage?
as long as it's below
I don't know.
30-something feet,
Oh,
right?
you dig down.
So-
Dig down.
Well,
Good.
but I think if you come closer to the street, you're gonna need
Variance?
a variance from the ZBA.
So, okay, so my last question for you, Bob, is, well, I have many, but, we could go on and on. Are you uncomfortable that you're the only Bolton representative on this committee? Especially when we had the opportunity to have two more? And I don't know for what circumstances that we don't have
Yeah,
full
I,
representation. It
Good
seems to
point.
me it's a big nut to
Well-
crack, not that we don't trust you, but
Yeah, well, Lorraine is one of the two people
Okay.
appointed by the school committee to attend, all right? Nancy is not attending, but that's not because she's not interested, it's because the school committee appointed two people, one from Bolton, one from Stowe, to represent the school committee on this committee. So Lorraine's there. My issue with having other people there goes along these lines. When it comes time to sell this to the town, I'm the only one who's going to be able to speak to the detail of it. If there were two other people, that would help, right? Because the capital planning committee may have some different perspectives than I do, and the selectmen may have different perspectives than I do.
Is there a reason why any of them declined? Do you know?
I don't know, I haven't heard anything one way or another why they.
See, I go back to my original thing, right? I can see where this is going, as we all probably can, and in a year, when things are finalized and then there's a big uproar, the argument at the time, the counter argument very well may be, well, you guys had ample opportunity to have X, X, and X represented at the table, and you didn't. And so, too bad, right? I mean, you might want to get out in front of that now when this is in sort of infancy.
No, I understand
stage, you
that.
know, that's
I
just
understand
my-
that.
yeah.
And you know, the other 300-pound elephant in the room is Minuteman plans to come to the towns and under current schedule
Yeah.
in the spring of 2016 to ask for permission to build a new high school, to build a new Minuteman High School, not to renovate, but to build a new Minuteman High School,
Yeah.
right? And whoever gets to the taxpayers first is
Yeah.
in a privileged position.
Better keep our debt down over the next couple of years.
So that's
Well, so that's a good point, Bob. So are you saying to us that wood is coming in 15?
no,
I'm saying that.
no. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that
So then then they're gonna come at the same time.
that's yeah, that's what we'd like to do.
But if you think about it,
I mean,
Minuteman's been
it's-
at
it's-
this for a long freaking time, and they're pushing it out to 16. This thing's, I know it's been talked
Yeah,
about in
but-
certain circles, but this thing's more formalized very recently.
Yeah, but he's
Yeah.
has a demonstrated track record of bringing stuff before it's fully
Well,
vetted.
You know, one of the reasons I wanted to be here tonight is, the other thing that happens is, you know, this proposal hits the warrant, and Bolton Town committees are sitting there going like, oh, we didn't know anything about this.
Hmm.
How come we didn't know what was going on?
So you're gonna be at the selectmen's meeting Thursday night for an update, or how do you update
No,
them?
I don't really feel I have anything concrete to report, except that we've been meeting, and there's a consensus that something needs to be done, but there's no consensus about the extent of it.
But I think some of the thought is, and not that this is gonna sound awful, not to discredit Bob's work, but so far, after all this work, they've determined that something needs to be done, we just don't know what it is. And that's been the case for 5 years, 10
Right.
years. And
Right.
so if I was a selectman, I'd be like, they're gonna talk about a problem that we've known for,
Right.
this isn't anything that's, that water needs to be thrown on right now. It's a smoldering fire that's been smoldering for a long time. That's the way I'd look at it, which is why I don't think there's the urgency, right?
Right.
So, Bob, you brought up a good point a little while ago about, looking through past, benchmarks by the state, and kind of seeing through the weeds on that. And I know you've, in past being on this committee, done a lot of different, formulas and such. Is there any thought of, looking through the three towns and essentially creating our own custom benchmark in terms of a growth rate to kind of get a sense of what how the three towns have grown in the past, and maybe do some type of projection to the future and then go from there?
The data I've used on the time I've been in the committee has all come from the state. It's only 10 years old.
Oh,
The problem with what you're asking for is Bolton, Stowe, and Lancaster go through housing spurts at different times. And they're never predicted. They're never predicted. No one ever says, here it comes. It's just like, oh, okay, we're on another one. And then no one can determine when they're gonna end or how fast it is.
yeah.
But I think you're putting the cart too far before the horse on this, right? Because all this committee right now is doing is, from what I understand, or the way I'm interpreting, is prioritizing the need and then brainstorming the solution. And if the solution is, let's look at building a new school, then the formal task will be to size the school right based on more formal work that is yet to be done on estimating the population size for the useful life of the building. That's what Minuteman did when farther on the process, when they figured out we need a new school. Then it was like, well, how big do we build a new school?
Now, the other aspect of this is if we determine that we want a bigger school than MSBA thinks we should have in terms of, we want X classrooms and they say we can only have Y. We can have X classrooms, but they're 100% paid for by the school district. It's not going to be a shared cost kind of thing. And the shared cost goes anywhere from what I've seen, from 40 to 51%.
Yeah, of 80 to 100 million for a new school.
I wouldn't throw the 100 million number around. That's going to get reaction out of people.
But listen, you're
before
talking
we
breaking
have
ground
any-
on something, at the very least, in 2016, you have no idea what commodity, construction,
I understand.
I mean, those
Where?
things grow. Look at Newton North or whatever, which was 180
We're not
million
building
dollars.
Newton
I'm just saying, we built the Taj Mahal of a library. We
didn't
have
build the Taj
expensive
Mahal of
taste
a library.
in these cases, Bob, in this town.
Well,
The grants.
that's pretty damn close to Taj Mahal.
Yeah.
You just did that on purpose.
I did.
Yeah.
But
Lousy paint jobs, whatever.
terrible window frames.
Sorry, Stash.
No, it's okay. These grants that come up every once in a blue moon, I'm not sure, I know there was one, it came up, it kind of fit, and we scrambled and it didn't happen. How often do grants come up like that? And
That was a targeted grant.
Okay.
For something like a major renovation, you can just go and you have to submit what's called a statement of interest.
in a certain vein, right, that they're trying to meet?
No,
Oh, okay.
no, just kind of like our school needs, we want to do something with our school. We want you to help defray the costs.
Okay.
We'll partner with you on this.
So there's always a potential availability of a grant?
Yes.
If you
know,
decide what
there's
you
a,
wanna do.
there's a queue.
Right.
This thing is funded, I just learned this past week, this thing is funded, the Mass School Building Association. It gets 1 penny out of, out of every dollar, it's what, 6 and, what's the sales tax?
6 1/4.
6 1/4.
Okay, so they get a penny of that. Out of every dollar in sales tax that's collected, a penny of it goes to the MSBA. That's where they get the money. So they've got a source of funds. It fluctuates a bit. The science lab thing was actually a situation where they had some money, more money than they expected, and they needed to spend it in a hurry.
Okay, thank you.
Well,
The most alarming point for me, Bob, that you mentioned is just the lack of tie-in. Which I think is a great way to
What
look
do you
at
mean,
it
the lack of time?
in terms of test scores.
Yeah, and I've done all the research I can to find some place in the country, or Australia or someplace that has this kind of correlation, and no one's done any studies about this.
Well,
But
everyone
the-
talks about the science,
but the
right?
naysayers will say, it has nothing to do, who cares about the test scores? It's about safety in the labs, and when we went around the last go-around, I went on the tour, there's only X amount of pull showers for chemical decontamination, and the drains are misplaced, and the kids, you got a Bunsen burner here, and you're next to another kid with the Bunsen burner. That has nothing to do with test scores. And that's how it will be sold.
It's all a part
Because
of
the
the
test
program.
score stuff's intangible. And safety sells, right?
So back to fear is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, I have made the comment that I hope this doesn't go to the towns like all other projects do, which is that if you don't vote for this, Mr. Taxpayer, your
Yeah.
children will never get good jobs.
Yeah.
You're gonna marry somebody ugly, and all of your kids are gonna have grandchildren will have little pigtails growing out of their backsides.
Well, yeah, someone.
So vote, if you don't want that to happen, vote for this.
Yeah.
And then there'll be someone standing up for the reduction to the ridiculous comment. Well, it's only if you just give up your coffee for.
No, they'll be
There'll be
like,
one
we
of
just
those,
spent $2.5 million on a turf field and a concession stand, and you're not gonna give us money for your kids when they're handling bromine in the lab?
So, I would like to avoid the fear mongering
Yeah, that would
and
be,
have positive reasons to vote for this.
exactly.
Safety would be one issue, grades would be another, but it's tough, it's
What about school ratings?
defining,
Like, you know what I mean?
awful subjective.
Right.
You know, like US,
Right,
school
right.
administration likes to quote US News and World Report. But my comeback to that is, and the other thing they like to point out is MCAS scores. And my comeback to both of those is, nobody ever applies to college
With
and
an
says on
emphasis.
their application, but Newsweek said that we were in the top 5%. And no one ever applies to college, and no college ever asks you what your MCAS score is. They'll ask you about your SAT, but they won't ask you about your MCAS. And so, you know,
Okay.
that's all inside baseball to educators. To the rest of us that are trying to figure out how to spend the money properly, that stuff doesn't matter.
All right,
All right.
well, clearly more to come
So
on that.
I'm sorry I didn't have anything more concrete or cheerful to report to you.
No, no, I think it's very helpful. It is, you know, it's a couple of points. You know, the whole Minuteman thing. I also would like to see other town representation, regardless of where it is in the process.
Yeah.
I mean, it shouldn't be your responsibility to get, you know, a selectman coming to the party late up to speed on what's been discussed.
Well, they
To
could
this
jump
point.
right in and, you know, overall, they haven't missed much is, you know.
Go off to the meetings?
It's been monthly. We've been meeting for over 6 months, and I'm frustrated by the progress or lack of progress, and I know other committee members are too.
What would change that? What would change? What needs to change for you not to be frustrated?
We need some concrete data on where the issues are and what's it going to take to resolve those issues.
And have you asked the school, the delivery of that lies with Michael?
Well,
and the
frankly,
school.
we were presented with a spreadsheet last Thursday that was very helpful. And we've asked for the soft copy so we can, you know, do our little mathematical dances and pull things apart and understand the whole spreadsheet together. But we, you know, I hope that's why Bill Cleary isn't coming tonight, is because he's working on that. But, because it's his job to update that and distribute it. So we need some more concrete data. For example, the fact that the classrooms are 85%, 83% or 85% utilized is good to know. That's helpful. It gives us a sense of how difficult it is to fit everything in. They're converting closets to meeting rooms so they can take the current meeting rooms and use them as classrooms. Okay? There's that kind of stuff going on. But we need to be, again, that's the anecdotal evidence that says that there's overcrowding there currently. But we need to back it up with some numbers that we can.
What about fire code? Are we in danger of
No,
violating
Because
it?
we're still under capacity.
no, we're
Okay.
technically still under
12,
capacity. Yeah.
But what I don't understand is if we're still under capacity, why are kids sharing lockers and stuff? Which was that the way it was originally designed? And we've heard about the locker crowding and.
Well, they
you've done money
put in
recently
enough
for-
lockers to support the students that were there before.
Yeah, right.
They didn't want to go out and buy a bunch of lockers that were going to be empty for 10 years. Right now, the problem is they have no place to put the lockers because the hallways are so crowded.
All right, well, I think this is a good, thank you, Bob, for that. And if you want to stay, I got an extra copy here. This is a good segue. We asked Bill Cleary to give us an update. You can take this, Bob, if you'd like. On the progress against some of the spending articles that have been approved over town meeting over the last couple of years. If you recall, during the budget process was somewhat contentious discussion with Bill that some of the members of this committee, myself included, were surprised with the lack of progress in some of what we consider to be the key items of safety-related issues particularly. So I've had a chance to take a look at this in advance, as have some of you. You know, I think it's tough for me to follow the money on this because he he applies some overages to other things, and the dollars haven't always quite worked out the way that we appointed, and some of the overages, as you'll see, are covered by the school to the extent that they've been over the amount that's been funded. But we can quickly go down. The hot water boiler replacement and the boiler replacement at Emerson and FSS are both pending. Even though we gave them the money on May 13th, Article 26, I think that was over 2 years here.
So that's 2013.
Yep.
So can I ask you a question about that, this MSBA grant?
Yeah.
That, is that?
Which one? Oh, in here, yeah.
Everything's pending the MSBA, and I'm thinking of our meeting that we had earlier this year. And we were gonna have word on that. Is this spreadsheet here saying we've got the grant and we're just looking for project acceptance now? Like, is the fact that everything here is pending based on that, or are we still waiting to
I
hear
think
if
it
we've
says
got?
currently in MSBA review phase, pending summer 2015 completion. So I don't know.
So it's happening
Yeah, I don't know.
under MSBA.
I don't know if that means that MSBA is still reviewing the proposal, or
Right.
if they're, I don't actually know the answer to that.
I would take that to mean that MSBA has not agreed to
Agreed to
yet.
fund
That
anything.
he has submitted
Right.
a request for them to defer some of to absorb some of the costs, but
And he doesn't,
they haven't agreed to it yet. And he's not spending money until, he doesn't want to spend the money if it turns out he's going to get some of it back.
And it looks like it looks as though there has been a decision to go to propane, when that was even up in the air before.
with the conversion to propane, yeah.
So it looks as though that's a definitive.
Well,
It
it
looks
looks
so, yeah.
like he's not even spending that money until he knows what's going to happen with the MSBA project.
Yeah, he's all wired it all up together.
And this was in the 2013, yeah, 5.
One of them was 13, but I think one of them was, didn't we give them?
Well, the boiler one was this.
Oh yeah, here it is,
Right.
on the next page, the boiler, 5 foot, yeah. All right, so he's got it later, okay.
And
13.
we basically told him we don't want him to spend money that until he finds out the right way to spend it. So I'm not.
Right.
We didn't viscerally react to this. We'll get to the ones soon, which we did that we'll be happy to see are complete. The carpet replacement looks like he has $14,582 available for carpeting replacement. And then he talks about the project being complete, removal and replacement of classroom carpets at Florence and Emerson for $9,500. And this is where I don't get the exact math. He starts out with school repairs on the top at 102. He carves out 75 and 18 that he's not spending, he's earmarking. And then he goes balance of 9,500. Essentially what he's saying is out of the 102, if you take out the boilers, he had 9,500. We gave him 5,000 more than he had 14, 582. He spent 9,500. And there was a balance of $2,274 at the end.
So in this,
Right.
there was this little, sort of, that should be over there.
Right, that's
So,
right.
okay.
So he spent 9,500 for the FSS, he spent 7347 for Florence, or for Emerson, which left him with $2,200 negative,
They absorbed.
which they absorbed.
Mm.
Everyone get that? So carpet, I mean, regardless of how the numbers are hard to follow, carpet looks like it's done, project complete on both, okay? And if you look at the next page, school safety, this was our particular thorn. Last year, we had given them $34,000 for door hardware, replacements, and rekeying of lock sets. It looks like those 3 projects have been done, one for $20,000, one for nearly $5,000, and one for a little under $600. And there's $9,000 left that we apportioned him that either he didn't need
No, phase
Where
three.
it says phase 3 is not to
Yeah.
exceed the balance of 9,000. So he's at line of sight into the rest. He's targeting February of 2015. Any discussion on that stuff?
No.
Yay.
Although I don't, you know, what I don't see here, which I wanted to see, was when was the project complete, right? But, you know, regardless, it's complete. And then the 12,000 that we just talked about for the engineering study, which obviously is pending. So I think this was a good, you know, unfortunately he's not here to answer any questions, but I think this gives us a little bit of a better feeling going into this next cycle as to what has happened and what hasn't. Because we were kind of blind last year. We're very surprised in January when we met with him that some of the work that we thought would be done was not done, right?
It wasn't even started.
Was right.
Yeah, he got on that this summer. He said.
Well, yeah, I think he
He heard us.
he heard us loud and clear on that, or it was always the intention to do it. But I think that was a lot of the fire that we needed to light, right? And he understands that he needs to have a constructive dialogue with us and the reputation that he delivers on the funding requests that he asks for, and sometimes we work hard to give him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, any questions on that? Do we have any, I guess the next item before we get to reorganization is an update on new members. As you've all read The Independent, and I have, there's continues to be an advertisement for 2 advisory members. From what I gather from Linda this morning, that there has been virtually zero progress, meaning 0 applicants, 0 formal applicants from what she knew of today. She was checking with Pam Powell, who's on the nominating committee, as we know, who has responsibility to fill these seats. Pam's been on vacation, but and didn't get a formal word from Pam, but you know, Linda and Pam are like thick as thieves, right? Peas in a pod. So she would probably know. You know, we're no different than we were a month and a half ago when, you know, we had some people that each of us were trying to solicit, and for various reasons with jobs and families changing for some folks have taken them in or out of the mix. But we should really start to be a little bit nervous at this point, I think, personally. I should be. I said to Linda, my exact quote to Linda today was, this, you're giving me the nail in my coffin. And so, listen, I mean, there's no other remedy. I mean, we can't advertise anymore. We can't, I guess we could, I don't know how, we could put a sign up on the Houghton building or something, but I really, truly
No,
still...
they just got painted.
Oh.
We're not touching it.
No, on the placard, you know what I mean? Or in that flashing, you know, that talks you about turtle crossings. It's, by the way, advisory member needed. But I truly think the real way that we are all going to get these spots filled is, you know, we have a very diverse population around this table. A lot of us have been in town for a while and have a really good network of people that we trust and respect, and we need to really beat the bushes on this thing.
So I did talk to one potential candidate who is interested, but cannot gauge whether or not they'll have the time to commit until the end of September. So I'm hopeful to talk to that person again and get more of a better idea, but it's not going to happen until the end of September. So.
And ironically enough, that really correlates with one of Linda's hypotheses today, which was Pam and her believe that once school starts and people start getting into a normal groove after a hectic summer, that they may determine that they have, you know, just have some surplus time, that they feel better about their
Or they cram it all in and they go, nope, sorry.
Which I thought was really wishful thinking. But regardless.
It is a transition time for a lot of my population anyway, because we're all young moms and dads.
I never got, Bob, we were talking last meeting, I think you were here, you know,
You're not.
even if we're a 6-member committee that has 4 people on it right now, is our quorum still always 4?
Yes.
I thought so too. So we can't do anything about the quorum. which is one of the reasons why I told you guys that I would stay as long as needed, is because we wouldn't be able to have meetings if I left, right? And so my vision on that hasn't changed. I just think we still, everyone's been, myself included, been extremely busy this summer. But now it's the time to, as we set the course for the new year and we elect a new chairperson in a couple minutes here, we need to not only talk about when we're going to meet next, but we all should make a commitment to ourselves by the time we meet next to have tried to reach out to another wave of our friends and comrades in the great town of Bolton to as a call to serve.
But this update that you've provided to me is just further evidence on. There was a question earlier on, do we have the authority to appoint Bob?
Yeah,
To hell with that.
I know.
Yeah, we do. Because we have a willing participant and we all respect him and to do that. So
And who knows?
to hell with anyone who thinks
if-
we don't have a say.
If they're in the same position in 2 months, we might have Mr. Sikansky decide he wants to come back for a stub term, or something. God willing, dear God, dear God, 9 pound, 6 ounce baby
We can
Jesus,
start
please.
Little baby Jesus.
From Paladin.
Exactly. That was
Anyway.
perfect.
So, that being said, let's elect a new chairperson. So we talked about this last month, and we had identified somebody who was willing to serve, and we wanted to get through the summer. And so I'd be honored to accept the motion to elect Brad Cote as our new chairperson.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Therefore, my pleasure to present
Oh.
this.
Oh,
Most recent chairman to the new chairman.
really? Wow. This looks like the Columbia House of Records. It really does.
That's the whole
They're
Michael
little-
Jackson disc set. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Let me see.
Would you read the title for the folks at home?
This is the Department of Revenue Division of Local Services.
It's awesome.
The
I'll have to
Municipal
say.
Building number 38, laws relating to municipal finance and taxation.
Mhm.
Reprinted from the Master and the Laws.
Don't let your wife get a hold of that. You'll never see it again. That is-
So this is given out to every chairperson? It's
With
the
the
expectation.
expectation, it's handed down from generation to
We're
generation.
supposed to all put our
It,
initials in the back.
it belongs inside the vault over there, but
It's extremely valuable.
But it's safekeeping because the vault is not safe, is that?
but it's the sacred book.
See who it was addressed to? Chairman, Finance Committee. That's you. Congrats. Your,
It doesn't
your
look-
fisherman's ring will arrive in 2 to 6 weeks.
It doesn't look as though you ever cracked it open, Bob.
State
I
House.
wanted to keep it pristine for the
Mhm.
new chairman.
Oh, I thought this was literally yours.
No,
Wow.
I'm just
No, it
kidding.
really hasn't been passed that.
no. Linda Day threw it on the table in front of me at the beginning of one meeting sometime this past spring. Here, this came for
This came in
you.
the mail.
Yeah. Wow. All right.
So, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I don't believe we have any other business we can talk about. Anything you'd like, the agenda serves yours. Congratulations, Godspeed to you.
Yeah. I think we can probably adjourn. We'll make a motion to adjourn.
You can accept the motion, Mr. Chairman. You cannot make any motions.
See, this is gonna be happening. All right, so wait a second. Did you know that? Did you know that? All right, that's good. Because I was gonna say, I'm in no rush to get rid
You
of
never
it.
notice when I say I will accept the motion, and then I make the motion, and then someone just says so moved, that's, I guess, how you're supposed to do it.
I just said my first so moved, so I'm
There you go.
working my way out.
So, you have to word it.
I'll accept a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So
Make
moved.
so moved, I'll make a motion.
Second.
All right,
Adjourn. There you go.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
That was,
Excellent.
seems pretty easy to me.
That's great. I don't know what all the fuss is about.
I know!